Okay, this is a presentation about how to use social media to improve your search engine rankings. Very specific topic, and I'm going to guide you through the actual steps. I'm excited to be collaborating with SimilarWeb. I've been kind of seeing Roy and working with Roy a little bit online for a long time. I'm actually in Chicago in the US, and but I think that this applies to anyone, anywhere. It's really a lot about relationships. So there is a SimilarWeb, I hope that you are all very familiar with. An amazing tool with amazing data, lots there. Here is the correlation between social media and search engine optimization. There are, of course, there's evidence that pages that get shared more do rank higher. These things correlate with high rankings at different rates. But correlation is not causation. There's all kinds of different correlations. There's, in fact, a correlation between, this is so funny, a correlation between the number of people who drown by falling in swimming pools and the number of movies that Nicolas Cage appears in. Very, very strange, right? It's not a meaningful correlation. It's a very strong correlation. It's just coincidence, right? Correlation is not causation. If there is a correlation, if there's a cause, maybe it's that the lifeguards are going to see Nicolas Cage movies. That's totally crazy. That's obviously no cause at all. That's kind of a joke. So I want to show you that there is a specific causation, and that is in Google Plus for visitors who are logged in. It's the personalized search results. If Jack puts Jill into a Google Plus circle, and then Jill, who's now in one of Jack's circles, searches for a page about buckets, and Jack has +1 to page about buckets, that page will rank higher in search. Because Jack +1 to the page, and because Jill put Jack, bless me, because Jill put Jack into a search results into a circle, that page will rank higher for Jill when she is logged in. That's the causation. Now, before I can help you guys understand better the real value here, it's about first understanding the value of links. Now, this is how Google works. Google is like the mean girl that you used to know in high school. You can get her to like you, but you have to get everyone else to like you first. That's how Google works. You can get Google to like you, but you have to get other web pages, other websites to like you first, because links are credibility. Here's how it works. When a page links to another page, it passes that credibility to that page. This character is talking about that guy. It's passing credibility. You can't say I'm credible. You can't say trust me. That doesn't work. It doesn't work in real life, and it doesn't work in Google. You need to get other pages to link to you. This is something that hopefully we all know. It's just about the this is the main criteria through which Google judges websites. So if there's a lot of pages that like you, you actually are more credible, right? You need a lot of these little guys to like you, and then your page becomes a more credible web page. Or you can get a link from a big, powerful page that passes a lot more credibility. So the rest of this presentation is about how to get those really authoritative links, about how to get a lot of credibility. And it's by paying attention to the people that create links on these other websites. Here's how it works. The number and quality of links is the biggest factor in Google in how high you rank. So how do you get those sites to link to you? How do you get a lead to the website, right? Let's work backwards from the actual lead. Someone comes to your website and becomes a lead. That happens because there is traffic, and that traffic converted from a visitor into a lead, right? It's the total number of visitors times the conversion rate that equals a lead. That is the actual the math of lead generation, right? Or e-commerce customers, or nonprofit donors. It's all the same thing. So you have to have a total number of visitors, and you have to have those visitors take action. Marketing drives traffic. Good web design drives conversions. You have quality traffic because there is rank, because when people search for something, they found you. Now, why do you rank? It's because there are links in that page that indicates its relevance for content, right? This is a lot of what I teach, and a lot of what I want to help you understand. It's you have to have a page that indicates its relevance, but also that page has to have authority because other sites are linked to it. The link happens because you have a relationship with someone who sees something that you create. It's about the relationship and the pages. So as long as you have a page that's relevant for a topic and someone who creates links sees it, That's when a link happens. Think about your marketing. Think about your writing. Think about the links you created. You linked to something because it was good and because you knew that it existed. This is the secret. There are two kinds of people on the internet. There are people who create content, and there's everybody else. They call them contributors or just lurkers. They're just reading stuff. They're consumers of content, but they never make content. 1% of us are the people who make the internet. Those are the content creators. So you can use social media in two different ways. One, you can use social media to get a lot of people to see you and to connect to many people through one social network. Or you can use social media for influencer marketing. You can use it for networking. You can use it to connect to one person through many different social networks, right? It's not about content promotion. It's about online networking. It's not traffic that shows up in your analytics. It's about relationships and friendships. It's not the direct benefit of social media. It's about the indirect benefit of having a large network of bloggers and people who create content, the people who create links. The links that create the rankings, the ranking that creates the targeted visitors, and the targeted visitors that can take action and become a lead. This is the secret to SEO. You can't really do SEO without relationships, right? You need to connect to people who create content. So here's how it works. Who creates content? Journalists do, authors do, podcasters, academic researchers, event producers, but of course we're mostly talking about bloggers and blog editors. Those are the people who create content all the time. So our goal, and this is like influencer marketing, is to connect with people who have already built the audience we want to reach. Then we want to borrow that audience from them in a very sensitive and considerate way. That's the definition of blogger relations. That's the definition of influencer marketing. That's the definition of digital PR, right? That's digital PR. And it turns out that social media is actually the world's greatest phone book, which makes this very easy. So I'm going to show you how to find these people and connect with them. You can use a social listening tool or use a Twitter search tool or Twitter's own tool if you want. I use FollowOne or just any other Twitter search tools. Twitter search tool is really bad, so we use different tools. Just put in your topic. Let's say I'm a dog trainer, and then put in the word that indicates that you're looking for a content creator, like blogger or writer or author. Now you're seeing all the people who are content creators on that topic, and it sorts them by the size of their following. FollowOne even shows you a social authority score, like what is their score on a scale of 1 to 100. If it's a 1, that person's probably not a real person. That might just be a robot. A fast way to find content creators. Don't just search for the topic. Search for the topic plus the keyword that indicates that they're a content creator. Build a list. Keep track of these people, right? Content marketers have lists. You should have lots of lists. You should have a list of topics, a list of keywords, a list of places you want to write for, a list of influencers, content creators. I do this all the time when I create content. I sometimes will just create a piece of content and then decide to share it with someone who's very targeted, someone who's very likely to be interested in this content. And to do it, all I have to do is to put in, make a simple tweet, such as this one, a few things that journalists can learn from content marketers. There's a link. This is a post I wrote for The Guardian. Carbon copy former journalists Paul and Claire. To find Paul and Claire, all I did was go to FollowOne and I typed in journalist and content marketer, and I found a list of people who are interested in both of those topics. Very easy, right? And so Paul follows me, Paul comments here in Twitter, Paul retweets it, Paul favorites it, and the next day Paul is actually connecting with me on LinkedIn. See how simple that is? You can find people who are very specific in social media. It is the world's greatest phone book. Now here's an engagement checklist that GrooveHQ created, which I think is not enough. It just says follow them, send 2 tweets, comment on their blog, share their blog a few times, and then you can send them a personal email and they'll maybe do what you hope they'll do. Include you in their content. Not enough. I want to go through a longer checklist of everything you need to do to become friends with even very famous people because you take more steps. First, listen to them. That means subscribing to their stuff, put some alerts out on them like Talkwalker alerts. Newsly is another one that will show you all the publishing done by everyone in your in LinkedIn, social networks. Google Plus is a good place to find people. You can add them to circles there. There's 700 million people, I think, in Google Plus. Follow people on Twitter, and then add them to a list. We have to use the list to watch these people. When you create a list, you can watch the list separately. I like to use HootSuite. It creates several columns. Here's the list. Here's my list of radar on the right. These are people that I want to connect with. Put them on a list. Your home stream is too noisy. You'll never see their stuff. Make a radar list. Don't even make it a private list. You want people to see you when you put them on the list. Now you're more likely to see their stuff, respond, comment, share, interact with them. Feedly is another good place. When you subscribe to all these people's lists, you should have 25 or 30 that you're following. You can actually put them in a separate category in Feedly, so you can see all their stuff at once. This is a very powerful tool. Is to listen to these people through lists like categories in Feedly or a Twitter list. Google Plus is a list, right? Everyone that you connect with there, they have people who create stuff. This is a circle I have in Google Plus called Content Creators. Now you're going to engage with them. You can favorite their stuff. You can +1 their stuff. You can like their comments. You also can comment on their blog. Guys, this is so important. This is the key to content marketing. You really need to comment on people's blogs before you can expect them to connect with you. This is huge. It's a very big thing because you can even very famous people read all their comments, so you can make sure that your content is visible to them because you're leaving a thoughtful comment in their content. One of the things that I know that I should have done much earlier in my career as a marketer is be more active on other people's blogs. Great marketers write content and write comments everywhere. And the comments look like a conversation, right? It's comments and it's comments on comments. So Lori writes something, Amanda's commenting on that. Lori responds, Amanda thanks her for her response. And then Leoden jumps in. You can see how these conversations continue, and it creates a little social media activity around the content. When you do that, you're becoming visible. Here's more ways to be visible. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Now they know about you. You've been having conversations with them. You've been promoting them and talking to them. Once they're connected on LinkedIn, you can have more conversations with them there. Endorsements, recommendations are huge. If there's a blogger you really like and respect and you're gradually becoming friends with them, write a recommendation for them. Now you can send a friend request to them. You can like their content there. Facebook and LinkedIn are symmetrical networks. They have to approve it, which means it's a higher bar. You really do need to seriously probably know the person. Now, LinkedIn is very messy. So when you connect with someone on LinkedIn, you need to tag them or else you'll never find them again because a lot of people have hundreds or thousands of connections. So create a custom tag. This is the custom tag that I use in LinkedIn for all of the content creators. This is the 1%. I'm connected with Beth. I tag her. Beth is a blogger and a writer. So I have that connection there now. So I can easily find her again later. Now, this is where it gets creepy unless you truly have become friends with them, but there's lots of other social networks where you take an action and become slightly more visible to them. Quora, Medium, Instagram, Yelp, Meetup, Storify, Listly. You can even follow people on apps. Spotify, Runkeeper, Fitbit. These are different like activity tracking apps or music apps, right? These are like little social networks. And if you're friends with the person, it's not that weird. Just go ahead and connect. You're really trying to build a relationship with them. Finally, you can connect with them if they're a podcaster. Review their podcast on iTunes. They're going to love you for this because iTunes reviews are really hard to get, just like an Amazon book review. Write someone, if they're an author and you write them a book review, they'll be so happy you did that. That's the extra mile. This is worth a lot, and it kicks in this psychological trick, right? It's called reciprocity. People automatically want to help people that help them. Remember, our goal is in the end, you're making a friend, but you also want to be included in their content. So these are ways to really be very visible to someone in ways that make them very grateful for your help. You got to go slow. You definitely have to go slow if you're the person's very famous or they're like an online celebrity. If they're much more famous than you, this is going to take a long time. You want to be in the New York Times? Yeah, you can connect with 10 New York Times journalists and gradually become friends with them, but don't rush it. It's going to take some time. So, but nothing's out of reach if you go slow enough. Finally, you are a publisher yourself. You have to understand that your blog is a great networking tool. You can mention people in your content, right? Find something they wrote and put it in your content. Or ask them for a specific quote, a contributor quote. Great articles. Think of it this way. An article optimized for search includes keywords. An article optimized for social includes people. Put people in your content, right? Don't just keep writing forever just the same stuff over and over. So ask influencers to contribute a quote. Hey, I'm writing something on this topic. Just include them in there. Now they definitely know about it. and they may share it with their audience. They're also more friendly with you now, so they may include you in their content. Expert Roundup is the next level, very popular format. Take 10 influencers, send each of them a question, they send you back answers, copy, paste, and you've got an article that is more likely to get shared. It's not automatically going to be shared by them, but you're more likely to be visible to them, of course, as well. Now, if you find an expert on a topic, you can actually just send one person 10 questions and you got a deep dive interview. Or even more fun, like if Roy and I were making content together, he might email me a question, I email back an answer, he emails me a second question that's based on my answer, or vice versa, maybe I'm emailing him questions. I can make it a longer string of emails that makes it a better conversation. This is in an article that I wrote called the Online Networking Guide. Search for the Online Networking Guide and you'll find these step-by-step instructions. Dr. Pete is a big guy on Moz. Justin Cutroni works at Google. Neil Patel, of course, is a very well-known marketer. I've met tons of these people over time, and I do it by writing roundups or posts that include them in my articles. When I had a conference last year and I asked Dr. Pete to speak, he did. I know him. How do I know him? From my blog, from collaborating with him on my blog. Use your blog as a networking tool. You are the media, so act like a journalist and include people as sources. That's a big key. Finally, you're going to become friends with these people, right? I do a different Skype call or Google Plus Hangout with a different marketer once or twice a week. Bloggers all over the world. Once you connect with someone, the email is very short. It just says, "Hey, I'd love to learn more about that topic, and maybe there's something I can share with you. Would you be interested in jumping on a quick call?" And I do these calls all the time, and I have a great network because of it. Some of my favorite marketers on the internet are people that I've talked to, right? And some of them I've become real friends with, right? I get text messages. I get text messages from, Heidi Cohen and Barry Feldman. I do calls with Stony de Goiter and all these different marketers that I know and love. Henneke in England and people all over the world. Face-to-face meetings are really the best. That's a real connection. Now you're really becoming friends with them. Here's an idea, a mastermind group. Find 3 or 4 or 5 other people who are kind of at a similar level as you, and just say, why don't we all get on a call once a month or every other month, and we'll just have a conversation about what you're working on. Am I working on something that you can contribute to? Are you working on something that I can share for you? Have a little content promotion group. You'll get great results. Also, the handwritten thank you note is very, very powerful. Easy to do. Very few people do it. If you want to be in the top 1% of networkers, go offline, right? Take this offline and send them something in the forgotten inbox. Write them a thank you note. I write at least one handwritten thank you note a week. It's a way to just instantly set yourself apart from everybody else that's out there. If you're not making friends, you're doing it wrong. Very simple. Make sure you are constantly meeting new people and constantly building your network. You should be making friends. You can't do this. You can't go it alone. You're never going to rank #1 in Google for that big money phrase if you don't have a network. This is the key. This is the most important thing. Now, you don't really have to pay that much attention. Here's the Groove HQ format for a relationship building email. And they say, oh, have a light conversational tone, identify what the reader's challenge is, ask them for permission. Yeah, you might get good results that way, but you don't necessarily have to structure it that way. It's not the most important thing. As long as you really build a relationship first, you don't have to go through this long, specific process. You can send a short email and get great results because you're friends with them. Make sense? Which link building tactics are most effective? Yeah, it's content and outreach. That's how marketing works. That's how people do it. And I publish everywhere, right? This is all these opportunities I've had to publish in all these different places came from this approach, right? It comes from this approach. That's how you can become an influencer yourself. Bottom line, right? You need to build your network. This is how to do it. Here's a trick to building your network faster. You want to connect with people in more than one place. So when you promote a piece of content somewhere and it gets shared somewhere against comments, you can go back and use a tool like Topsy to see the social shares. In this case, Topsy shows me the social shares in Twitter. These are all the people who shared that article in Twitter. It has a tab to see just the influential people. Quite interesting. Now I can take those people who shared it in one place. When I share it in another place, I can thank them for it. So I'm thanking the people. Here's a post in Google+. You could do this in LinkedIn or anywhere. I'm thanking the people who did an action in one place in another place, because now, yes, they already saw it. They're more likely to share it in this network. I know they liked it. If I'm not connected with them yet on this network, they'll probably connect with me here, right? Action happens in location A. Thank the people in location B. That's called crossing the streams. Also, here's another great shortcut. Get out there. Get out to events. You hear me, I'm talking to Dina Goldesich and Tom Martin and Andrea Vall and Heidi Cohen and Kelly Kingman and Jill Salzman, and there's me and Ann Handley. I met these people at events, right? These are real friends. I'm truly friends with them because I know them from these places. So that's a good shortcut, is to go out and meet people face to face, find local events, or create your own event. Create your own event. It's not that hard. Just find a good space and use an event registration tool and just start teaching your content. Turn your greatest blog posts into presentations and give them. I have an event I've done every month for 5 years, and it sells out every month. It's called Wine and Web. Every month, pour 10 bottles of wine and 30 people and some pizzas, and I teach web marketing in my office every month, and have done it for years. It's a great networking tool, and it pushes me to create more and better content. Live events are always at the top of the list for most effective B2B tactics. Right, this is the Marketing Profs and Content Marketing Institute B2B content marketing survey. There are tools for influencer marketing. InkyBee is one of them. It will build a list for you. InkyBee is nice because it shows you the domain authority. After all, we're trying to get a search ranking benefit. If you should get mentioned or linked to from one of their blogs, this is the value you'd get from that. That's the domain authority. This tool also draws little progress charts to show how much you've done to connect with people. If you commented on their blog or retweeted them, you can see, oh, I need to comment on their blog more often. That's GroupHigh. It's another one. These tools build lists for you. They track activity for you. I think Tracker with 2 A's is another one. Lots of influencer marketing tools. Influencer marketing is like a industry now. I mean, there's all kinds of services and products for it. Now, be careful. If you just use social media to get traffic from social media instead of looking for the indirect search ranking benefit, you might be disappointed, because visitors from social media are, you have to work at it all the time. It's not like search. If you rank for a page in search, you just kind of get traffic from that page. Search, social, and email, you have to keep working at, of course. But every page on your website is a chance to catch traffic, just like a sail catches wind. So you can create more pages that are relevant for more phrases and get that traffic. Traffic from social tends not to take actions as often. Maybe they'll subscribe to the newsletter, but they're very unlikely to become a lead. If your goal is lead generation, you might be very disappointed. Here's the analytics from my own site. Only 1 in 5,000 visitors to our website from Facebook. 1 in 5,000 Facebook visitors becomes a lead. Very, very low. But the percentage of visitors who become a lead from search, much higher, right? 6 times as high or 10 times as high. Why? Because they have intent. Because they started with a keyword. Because they are actually looking for something. Social visitors tend not to be looking for something. So this makes the case that maybe the indirect benefits are the biggest benefits. Maybe the online networking is the best part about social media. So don't just leave it to chance. You share something on social and a lot of people see it, then maybe some of those people are in the 1% of content creators, and maybe those content creators will link to it. My approach here is to skip that part at the beginning and make your content directly visible to the creators. Instead of just sharing something and hoping someone sees it and they share it, and maybe a content creator sees it and then they read it and think it's worth sharing or worth linking to, then they link and now you increase the ranking. Skip that nonsense at the beginning. Just make your content directly visible to content creators, potentially by just collaborating with them on the content itself. Now, if you're wondering how you're going to get time to do all this great sharing that you want to do, you can save time by for the other stuff by just using instead of sharing over and over manually through Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Tumblr, wherever you share. I'm going to show you a trick to save a lot of time. HootSuite, of course, or social scheduling tools will share stuff. Will save time. You can schedule stuff in advance, so you can line up all of your tweets and posts and LinkedIn things and everything for the week or for the month just by choosing them times for the future. When you do things, you can, in a half a day schedule a month's worth of stuff. Or you can click the auto schedule button and it will just choose different times for you, and it shares stuff when your audience is active. Buffer does the same thing. You just press the buffer button and it shares something when it thinks your audience is active. Very efficient way to share content. But automation will save you much more time, and here's how. Find 3 things: the content that gets shared and clicked and gets visitors to act. Then we're going to find the best times of day, and then we're going to load it into a tool that will actually do this for me over and over. It will keep sharing over and over time. Was that a question?
No, all good.
Okay, so here's a tool that shows us all the sharing, and I've got BuzzFeed, and it shows BuzzSumo, and it shows me the total number of shares for every piece of content across every social network. So these got this much traction in those social networks. Add these to your list. Next, go to find the content that gets clicked the most. I got this from the paid version of HootSuite. I actually upgraded to the paid version and actually just got this report, and then I deactivated before I had to start paying every month. This is like the free trial gave me this report. This is just the post that got clicked the most. Some things get shared a lot, but not clicked. These things are the ones that get clicked. Total number of, okay, so I'm going to add these to my list. These articles, add these to my list. Next, here's a great trick for measuring content performance. You just go to the reverse goal path report in Google Analytics and see the goal of newsletter subscriber, and then look at what people were doing right before they subscribed. Filter so you're only seeing the blog posts, and choose from the drop down just the newsletter subscribers. This is the number of people who subscribed to the newsletter after reading these blog posts. Add those to your list. Now you know the posts that get shared the most, the posts that get clicked the most, and the posts that get subscribers the most. Put those on a list, and I can see, well, these are the posts that get this percentage of conversions. People who read this, 0.76% of people who read this post become a newsletter subscriber. Very, very powerful. These are the most inspiring posts on my site. Some posts are much more inspiring than others. So, there's in the top 50, some posts get almost no one to subscribe. Some posts that get almost 1%. You should definitely know in advance the percentage of people who take which actions on your website. Now, what times of day? If you're in the US, 11 o'clock Chicago time is a good time because New York, it's lunchtime. California, it's breakfast. So, but you can actually use a tool like FollowOne again to just show you the exact times of day when your audience is most active. I don't emphasize this too much because who cares? People could be active, you should just share all the time. It doesn't really matter. You might have an international audience, which suggests sharing at different times, or you might want to share when your audience is less active because other people are less likely to share, which is counter-competitive timing. You can share when your content's more likely to be seen because fewer people are sharing then. Now, we want to load these into a tool. I'm going to use a tool called Meet Edgar. This tool is, I think, $50 a month, so to do this kind of social automation does cost something. It saves me 6 to 8 hours per month, but very, very valuable. What it does is it puts all these things, and I'm sharing these very carefully with numbers. I put in a benefit-driven headline. I put in a secondary headline. I'm using line breaks. I put in special characters like little arrows, and I'm using an image on each one. And I put in like 40 of these different articles that I know are the best for social sharing. Now, I'm using every trick in the book to get these things clicked, right? All these different hashtags, line breaks, images, the link, of course, all these different things. Now they appear in this scheduled tool, and they stay in this rotation forever. So at 9 o'clock on Mondays, I'm sharing this post. Great. 9 o'clock next Monday, it'll share with another one, and at 9 o'clock on the next Monday, it will share another one. So it's like Buffer or Hootsuite for auto scheduling, but it never stops. It just keeps going forever and ever. It's a great thing because it really just will save you a lot of time in the content promotion type of social media. Now you can focus your time on the online networking type of social media. A lot of these tactics are in the book. I wrote a book about content marketing. It's just called Content Chemistry. You can find it anywhere. I hope that some of this has been useful to you. Roy is going to stay on here with us. We might have a few questions. Do we have time to take a few questions?
Yeah, thank you so much, Andy. That was so helpful. And now let's go to Q&A. We have a first question. So Aaron asked a good question related to our company. We offer products that are very niche and adult in nature. Not too many people wish to share this on social media. So we have to walk around this, of course. Is this something that is rather grieving?
Sure. So if it's a niche audience, then the value of doing online networking social media is even higher. You can find and share it with very specific people who are just interested in that topic. Of course, you know, there's some people who follow you on Facebook and Twitter, and you have some connections on LinkedIn. Maybe very few, maybe 1% of those people care about your product. So if you search in FollowOne, or you can search in Facebook or search in Twitter or LinkedIn for people who are interested in that specific topic, now collaborate with them on that topic. You can stay in that narrow niche. It's not broadcast, it's like pointcast. It's to a specific group. I'll give you an example. I once wrote an article about SEO, which is a broad topic, but the article had a zombie theme, right? Zombies were popular. They're popular in TV shows right now. So how many people are interested in SEO and zombies? 22 people had SEO and zombie in their bio. So when I shared the article, I just put CC in the share and brought it to their attention, and those people were instantly very active. They're leaving comments. They're sharing it themselves. So you have to use a laser focus for a niche topic and make sure that you're finding, connecting with, collaborating with, and sharing directly to people who are interested in that niche. Is that a helpful answer?
Yeah, it's very much. Do you think also promoting, he said yes, and I think maybe like doing promotion with the audience will be more helpful to get social shares as well. Do you think so as well?
Yeah, I think it's if you are very active within certain places where the percentage of people who like that topic are higher. So for example, if you find a LinkedIn group and the people in the LinkedIn group are in industries and have job titles that suggest they're more interested in the topic, a social share in there might be good. I mean, if you're to start a conversation on that topic. But if you just publish in LinkedIn Publisher, you know, that's a very broad, you know, LinkedIn Publisher is like everybody, it's every topic. It's general business. So you might not get much traction there unless you connect your content to some broader, more broadly interested meaning.
Yeah, maybe forums can help as well. Very niche forums.
Yeah, forums are perfect.
Another question that we have: which social media platform have the biggest correlation to Google rankings?
It's Google Plus actually has the highest correlation, but I don't think that means a lot. It's just correlation. I'm not sure why that would have a higher correlation, the number of +1s, but that is in the Moz Search Ranking Factors study. It is the network with the most correlation, but it's really, you know, it's the causation, the indirect causation, which we should pay attention to. Your rankings are going to be much higher when you have built with and are relevant within a network of relevant bloggers to your topic, where you are constantly sharing, collaborating with content, you know, in the same groups. You know, if you want to win, if you want the relationships that lead to links, that lead to rank, that lead to traffic, that lead to leads, you need to find and connect with those people in ways that are first very generous, giving them as much value as you can, and then later in ways that are very sensitive, asking very politely when you are hoping for a mention in their content.
But in addition, people always keep saying that Google Plus is dying. So do you think people do should effort and publish there and effort time there?
I'm not necessarily recommending that people are active in Google Plus. It really depends on your network. There isn't one network that's best for everybody. If you're B2B, probably LinkedIn. If you're B2C, probably Facebook. If you're using social media networks as phone books to research people, Google Plus is excellent because there's so many people there. But you can make choices about which social network to be active inside, depending on your content strategy. The real value is to understand where your audience tends to spend time. It's not about what you want to do. It's more about where can you connect with your audience. And it might be like a niche forum, like you mentioned, or a LinkedIn group, or a Google community. So you can use every social network is optional, but building relationships with content creators is not really optional.
Yeah, I agree. Another question that we have: what to do if the influencer is no longer responding? For example, you had a relationship with him for a few months, and then he vanished. He's no longer recommending you. He's not longer responding to your emails. So now what to do?
Oh, there's usually more value in finding someone new to connect with than to keep trying to get the same person to come back. So some people get busy, some people move on, maybe they just have a different focus, or they got super famous and now they have no time. Maybe they change jobs. Maybe they have something in their personal life. That's okay. It's normal. You have a list of people though, and it would be a mistake to focus too much on one person. That's why we have a network. We're not over reliant upon one person.
The best tool to find them for you is FollowOne. We have also heard also about the Authority Labs. If you tried it.
No, what tool was that?
Authority Labs. I think it's a new one.
Okay. I like these tools. There are all kinds of clues. Sometimes I find people that I want to connect with just by looking at like a newspaper. If you're paying attention, then you can find people everywhere and just collaborate with everybody in every different group. I might be starting a new group here so we're a web design company in Chicago. I might start a group soon of all the owners of all the web design companies in Chicago, just for fun. Let's meet. Let's get a beer. Just invite everybody. I think that LinkedIn might be one of the best because you can find people very easily based on geography. And I really love face-to-face meetings and really feeling a close connection by having met with people in person. So any of those tools might be good. If you get a very large search result of many thousands of people, consider narrowing based on geography. Those are people that you're just much more likely to have a natural affinity with.
Yeah, so in addition to events and face-to-face, so how to prepare yourself for meeting the speakers at events? Like, for example, if you want to reach one of the speakers at events, how do you prepare yourself?
Oh, it's so important. So Ian Cleary of Razor Social, he goes to events, but he does not attend any sessions. He gets the virtual pass and watches the sessions later. He spends all of his time in the hallways and in the speaker lounge. So if you do attend sessions, I recommend that you sit in the front row. I don't know why people sit in the back rows of conferences. You pay to be there, and then you want to hide in the corner. You're going to see the speaker's face. The speaker's going to see your face. You should be in the front row. You should be asking a relevant question. You should be introducing yourself afterwards. If they have a book, you should bring a book and have them sign their book for you. You should ask them an interesting question. If they give you an interesting answer, then you should suggest a follow-up. Here's something I did at a conference. So there was a moderator of the panels, and he was this really interesting guy. He's an editor from the New York Times. And afterwards, I was talking to him about content, and I said, "Oh, the New York Times. You know, I know that you, of course, you use the format of stories all the time. What about lists? What do you feel about lists versus stories?" He said, "Well, you know, I understand why lists are popular, but you know, I need a narrative because I'm a journalist." And I said, "Would you mind if I emailed you a couple of questions and you email me back answers? I would love to just do a tiny interview of you." He's a journalist, so he likes to be interviewed, right? People love to be interviewed.
Yeah.
Almost no one will decline, right? Ask someone if you can interview them. Almost everyone says yes. So
Exactly.
he wrote back answers. Lists versus, and then I wrote a blog post about this called Lists versus Stories. I sent this blog post to Copy Blogger. I know Sonia Simone from an event that I was at. I met Sonia one time, and I sent it to Sonia, and I said, "I have an interesting angle here, lists versus stories, the viewpoint of a New York Times editor." She posted it the next week. She loved it. The audience loved it. It was shared a million times. This happened because I was paying attention to and had an interesting conversation with one of the speakers from one of the events. It's a good example of how live events can lead to interesting conversations, which lead to interesting content, which leads to valuable links, honestly.
Yeah, I can say from my experience that meeting face-to-face the people, it's so different and so like actually you create a bond and not just emailing. You see a real person, you met with him to a beer and go to lunch with him. And it's really the best way to for this partnership.
Yeah, yeah, it's a shortcut. I mean, you can build your way up to a face-to-face meeting with anybody, but you can skip that entire process at the beginning and just meet with them right away by by finding them at an event.
Yeah. So do you think if I'll go, for example, to content marketing event and I want to connect with one of the speakers, so the best way to do it before that is to comment on a blog post, share their stuff, and show them love. And then they
Yes,
probably will notice you in the event. Say, "Hi, I'm Roy from SimilarWeb," and you say, "Hey, you're the guy that comment. You shared my stuff," and that's a good start.
exactly. I'm almost 100% sure you would have success that way. Prior
Yeah,
to the event, listen to their content, right? Subscribe to their stuff, put them on a list, start watching, share, comment on their blog, favorite their posts.
yeah,
You maybe even try LinkedIn, you know, or wait for LinkedIn. Then go to the conference, sit in the front row, ask a question, go talk to them afterwards. You know, ask them if you could get a quote on something that you're creating. They're definitely going to say yes to this, right? And then you can email them later, then connect with them on LinkedIn. I mean, you can become friends if you're sincere and you're considerate and you're thoughtful. You can become friends with anyone. I mean, it's networking. It's connecting with influencers. There's a big SEO benefit, but it's also real friendship. You know, these are people that you'll care about, and you know, you'll get to know them and find out what's happening in their lives. And you know, there's a psychological lifestyle, you know, quality of living benefit that goes beyond links and rankings.
exactly.
If you do it right, you're really going to be friends.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We have time for two more questions. So, what is the best formula from how much time do you need to share your blog post?
Uh, I share my blog posts over and over because the content I write is evergreen content that doesn't go out of style. So it's not news, it's not opinion. Um, it's the kinds of things that are relevant, you know, last year and this year and next year. So I put those things into social rotation because I know that you know, they're not going to go out of, you know, they're just useful, like Wikipedia type content. I also took the dates off my blog because the dates don't add any important information. This content is relevant. I keep refreshing it over time.
Wow.
Is that the question? Is it about
Yeah,
the duration, the lifespan? Yeah,
yeah.
it's years. I write things that are relevant for years if I
So
can.
for example, you can share in your Twitter post from 4 years ago, and it will be still relevant.
Yep. Sometimes you have to go. I mean, it's tricky because articles about Google Analytics, you know, that tool keeps changing. When you talk about tools, you have to go refresh them. You know, I mentioned FollowOne. There was a different tool I used for this years ago, but that tool disappeared, so I had to update that post. And I update the presentations. So there's a risk because you have to keep watching your content, but it's worth more to be the editor of a mini version of Wikipedia where you keep refreshing things that are evergreen. I think it's probably easier in the long run than just to just publish a endless stream of, you know, medium quality content that goes out of style quickly.
Yeah, because people still believe, for example, if you publish 4 blog posts per day, Google will love your website more. I don't know why.
That's not true. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no correlation between publishing frequency and rankings.
Yes.
That's not why things rank, you know. There is correlation in some cases because if you target a key phrase where there's lots of news and lots of new content coming out, then freshness is a bigger factor. So if you're publishing something about you know, a specific feature, or like let's say if I write an article about influencer marketing, it's a very popular topic. There's new articles coming out every day. It'd be very hard to rank for that for a long time. If I write an article about the design of website footers, not that many people publish articles about website footers. You know, if I can make a great page on that, it might rank for years.
Yeah, exactly. You need to find the keyword that you know, with no higher competition, and target them. Bring something new to the table.
Yeah. It's a function of the volume of new information coming out on that topic. You have to go much bigger if the topic is something where there's
so
lots and lots of
I
new
have
stuff.
a good example for this. For example, the keyword French toast have like 40,000 results or 40 million. I can't remember. So you can't bring anything new. Everyone know how to prepare French toast.
Well, maybe you. I don't know. I try to be optimistic. There's always something. You know, there's always a new angle. I mean, if you wrote, could you make the best piece of content on the internet about French toast? Yeah, I mean, it would be a giant article. There'd be lots of recipes. It would have quotes from all the top chefs. It would have 1,000 words about the history of French toast. It may still be possible to make the best article on that topic.
Yeah. So, final question. What was the best outreach email that you got?
Oh, that I've received from someone else?
Yeah.
You know, this is controversial, but some of the best outreach emails I get are very short and a little bit vague. Like a guy that I kind of know sends me one sentence that says, "Hey, I finished publishing that ebook," and it has a link. And I can't remember, like, did we talk about this ebook? I kind of know this guy. He's not trying any of the tricks. It's totally different, right? It looks like an email from a close friend, and I do kind of know him. It was like a one-sentence email, and there's nothing to do but click the link, you know, and see what he was talking about. So I don't like all of the new. I don't respond to all of the new outreach email tactics where people say, "Hey, I didn't hear from you before. Maybe you got eaten by an alligator. Ha ha. Oh, if you're still alive and you can reach the keyboard from inside the alligator, then write back to me." Like, people are trying to be too clever. They're trying to be too funny. Actually, I'm collecting these stupid emails, and I'm going to write a blog post. So if you have a really dumb outreach email, send it to me, andy@orbitmedia.com. I want to do a post about some really dumb outreach emails. I just think the people are doing
I think
stupid
Brent
stuff.
Fishkin is working on this kind of post as well.
Is he?
Yeah. You should
I'll let him
coordinate
write
with
it.
him.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. It's really funny. People actually asking him, "Hey, can you give me a backlink on your blog post?" Without any doubt, without anything. just asking for backlinks.
Yeah, another, that will never work, of course. Another one that I see all the time, a total stranger says, hey, I see you wrote an article about X. I wrote an article X+1. Here it is. Now, it just looks like a robot sent that to me. You know, you're not paying attention to the timing. If you don't get a response, it's because you went too fast. If you really know the person, you don't have to pay any attention to careful wording, outreach, email, response rates, because you're really friends with them. You know, I get a direct message in Twitter from someone saying, hey, Andy, could you share this? Absolutely. I share it in 2 seconds. Why not? I know the person. I'm friends with them. Right? It's only weird if you did not take every step first. Right? It didn't work because you're not friends with them. You're even thinking about response rates because you're not friends with them. So I'd say focus on a smaller number of high quality contacts that you can help a lot too. Start helping them. Build that little network of 10 or 15 people, and then that's going to get you a much better result.
So if we're speaking about the cycle, so the cycle should start with showing love on social network, and then going to events and sit in the front row, ask question, and then do introduction, and then the third thing will be add to LinkedIn, and after it, the final cycle will be the email.
Yeah, and the email might first be.
Without any like friendly email at the beginning, without any attention.
Right, and the first outreach is normally you trying to give them exposure. You know, would you be interested in contributing to a quote to this article? I want to give you, you know, I have a list, I have a following, I have a domain authority myself, and I want to share my audience with you. So, Roy, you and I think, met this way, right?
Yeah.
We started collaborating on content.
Yeah, you told me that my outreach email was insane. Really good.
I mean, we're friends now, so I can hardly remember what it was. But I remember one time calling you and saying, I reached out to you and I said, I wrote an article that's relevant. Would you like me to include you? And then later you said, hey, you have another article. Could you include me there? And I said, sure. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not weird at all.
Exactly.
For you to ask that. Yeah,
and after it was picked on Search Engine Journal, I think.
Yeah. So it's really just people helping each other because they like each other. That's why. That's the best part of marketing.
Exactly. It's without doubt outreach is the best link building tactic. And it's just like link building. People can meet other people and become friends, and it's much more than this. Yeah.
So now I would say, like, hey Roy, if you're ever in Chicago, make sure you let me know so we can get together.
Exactly.
You know.
So if you'll be in Tel Aviv,
if I'm in Tel Aviv, I'll let you know. We'll meet we'll get a coffee or something.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you very, very much, Andy. That was a great presentation. And if you have any questions, you can email it with me, and I'll forward it to Andy, and he will respond after it. And you have any other comments, Andy?
No, but thank you so much for the opportunity. Connect with me anywhere. You can find me on any social network. I'm happy to help anyone who joined the conversation today.
Thank you so much, Andy. And everyone have a good day. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.